Surana. Um, Hello everyone, I'm so glad to have you all here. Welcome Sanika. Thank you so much for presenting this webinar today. Um, uh, my name is Pranjal and I am the current Chief Executive Officer of this organization that is hosting this webinar today. I would have loved to turn on my camera, but unfortunately I'm facing some technical issues, so I cannot do it right now. Anyways, we also have Sanskriti. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi everyone. Hi Sanika. Thank you so much for being here. We are glad to have
Hello.
all of you here. And yes, my name is Sanskriti Dabhari. I am the Chief Operating Officer at Project O5, and I hope you all enjoy this session.
Uh, so
Great.
So I'll give you a walkthrough of the webinar. I'll just take 5 minutes to explain everything to you guys. We'll start off with about our organization, then about a speaker, followed by the webinar. After that, we will be open to your queries and comments. Let me clear this off. We are recording this meeting and it will be posted on our socials, whether it's Instagram or YouTube. If you do not want to be recorded, you can drop your queries in the chat box instead and we'll surely take them up. Also, if you face any issues understanding my accent or Sanika's, please turn on the captions to help you out. We'll hand you guys an attendance link during the query section of the webinar. It is mandatory to fill that in order to be eligible for the certificate. Um, about Project Zero Five is a student led organization centered around creating awareness about mental health and helping people improve their lives. We share informative content on our website and Instagram. Do check that out. We aim to provide a space where people can grow and improve themselves. About the speaker, Sanika Surana. Sanika is pursuing Masters in Arts in Applied Psychology from TISS Mumbai. She is a YouTube creator with a channel called PsychoDB. She helps psychology students excel at their career. Do check out her YouTube channel. She shares amazing tips. We'll share her socials. She is also a LinkedIn creator. Check that out as well. Now I give the stage to Sanika.
Yes, sure. Before we start, since Pranjal has already shared her concern, I really want everyone else to turn on their cameras. Um, if everyone am I audible to everyone? Because I think, guys, we cannot be half-half at two places. Either you can not turn on your cameras, look at your phone, do things that you want to do, or you can be in this meeting. So you have to make a choice right now. Either turn on your cameras or you can be out of the meeting. Except Pranjal because she has already mentioned.
Yes, guys, please do it. We are talking about improving our communication skills.
If this would have been a offline meeting, then you would have had to show face anywhere. So, oh, oh, that is the thing. All right. I believe that everyone is 100% in this meeting. And no one, even for a second, will give a glance to their mobile phone. Because the first thing that is extremely important to have good communication skills is listening. And the more you listen, the better I think you will be able to understand what the person in front of you is saying. I just want to confirm if I am completely audible and visible to you because I think there is some internet issue.
Yes, you're audible.
Yes, great. All right. So communication. When Sanskriti Pranjal approached me um, to talk about this effective communication, I thought that this was about public speaking, interviewing, and the things related to career. But now that I saw PPT, I realized that it is also about relationships and talking to your loved ones um, in a better way and making sure that we are reaching out to people in a way that they want us to reach out to, but also ensuring that our messages our message goes across properly. So now what I have done is I have clubbed the both of them and I'll talk a little bit about interviewing and public speaking and talking to people in general in a better way. making an impact on the audience. And then I'll also talk about how we can make sure that the relationships that we have with our partner, with our family, with our friends, how we can make sure that our communication with them is clear, and how um, we can make sure that we have a good relationship with them in general. All right. So communication is in general a very, very important thing. If you ever feel like you want to be a leader, um, if you feel like you are someone who sees themselves in position of leadership, power, responsibility, then it is something that it is inevitable. You have to develop skills of communication if you want to display yourself, and if you want to also feel like a person who is responsible for major things in life. Um, what I really mean by communication is understanding what you really want to say, then saying it to the person you want to say it to, and making sure that the person is understanding what you are saying. So it is not just saying, it is a three-way process. And a lot of people feel like speeches and things like that, they are very superficial things. I'll tell you a story. So there was Barack Obama, and when he started his this journey of becoming a president, he gave a lot of speeches, and a lot of his speeches are on YouTube also. Um, and everyone in US at one time said that this guy is just superficial. He just makes speeches and is not going to do anything for the country. Then one day when he was campaigning, he gave a speech and said, "Don't tell me that words don't matter." And then that was the entire speech. I will encourage all of you to go on YouTube and search that speech and listen to it. It is a very encouraging speech and really puts down the message why communication is so important in our daily life. Words make sure that you build trust among yourself with other people. Words make sure that you build friendships. Words make sure that your impression in front of the world is good. And you decide what words you pick. And that is why you also decide what impression you are making in front of people. So I'm going to just put down some 10, 11 points, which is probably going to help you in communicating better in a public speaking platform or in front of your friends or in a class or in front of an interview. So it will help you in this academic setting. And you can also pick these points up to help you in personal settings. But then I'll talk about it later. So the first very important thing when we want to become a good speaker and when we want to communicate, really communicate, is practicing. Practicing ensures that we have less nervousness. And trust me that everyone faces nervousness. There is also there was this joke. Someone said that there are two kind of people. One who is nervous before speaking, and two, the kind of person who doesn't exist at all. So everyone before speaking faces nervousness, and it's okay. Even I was nervous before starting to speak with you. So practice. Like if you feel that it's not something that you could do, you could not stand in front of a lot of people and talk, then just go in front of a mirror and practice whatever you have prepared. And you might feel when you are jotting down things, you might feel that you are not writing good enough or your content is very childish. But that's the part of it. That's where you should start. The moment you start practicing, you realize what is it that you need to correct in order to reach better to the audience. All right. So let's go to the second point. The second point I was saying in a previous point also, that nervousness is okay. Everyone faces nervousness, and if you don't face nervousness, that means you are overconfident. Um, there is this concept in mental health in psychology. There is distress, and then there is eustress. These two types of stress exist. Distress is something which will completely paralyze you if you go on a stage. But eustress is a good kind of stress. which if you have, it will enhance your performance in front of people. So stress is good to have. And that little bit of stress will always push you out of the box and push your performance to the next level. So whenever you feel nervous, tell yourself that it's a good sign. And it will help you perform better wherever you are performing. And then I'll come back to the cliche point that look at the audience, look at the camera if you are in an online setting. And I agree that looking at the audience in the eye can create a lot of anxiety sometimes, especially if you are a person who is talking to people for the first time. And if there are a lot of people to talk to. So, what you can do is there is a little trick. If you are in a room, look at the end point of that room and look 3 feet above the eye level of people. So, you will feel that you're not looking directly in the eyes of people, but people who are listening to you will feel that you are looking at people and talking. But it is also necessary to not just look at one point because then people will feel that you are terrorized. And that is not the impression that we want to put. So it is important to keep moving eyesight from here to there, clockwise, anti-clockwise, especially if you are talking to the entire audience. And slowly, as you practice, this thing about looking in the eye of people becomes a little easier. Sometimes you're able to look in the eye of someone because you want to make sure that a point is put very strongly. So yeah, that comes with practice. But when you first want to make eye contact, this is the trick that you can use. What you can do to lessen the nervousness that you might feel before talking, or even if you are feeling nervous while you are talking, is drink water. A lot of times when I'm not sure if I am audible, can someone just confirm that I'm
Yes,
audible? Because everyone has turned off their video. Okay. Uh, so I would really appreciate if like two people turn on their videos because I feel like I'm talking to a blank screen and I don't like it.
yeah.
Um,
I and Sanjana
yeah,
have our cameras turned on. I'm not sure if
thank
you
you.
are able to see us.
Uh, I am able to see you. So what I'm saying is a lot of times when we are going on a stage or when we are talking in an interview, um, our throat dries up and it happens like physically. So it is very important to be aware of it and drink water. And you don't know how magical it might be to just drink water the moment before you're going to speak. Um, I did that before coming here, and it really soothes you down. So drink water, maybe breathe. Awareness is another thing. Like I was going to talk about presence of mind. It's okay, Ingrid. Yeah. So I was going to talk about presence of mind. So awareness is another thing that is very important when it comes to understanding how you want to react when you are talking to people. And this is also important when you are talking to like people who you are close to, when you want to bring up a problem, in teams, when you want to bring up something that is problematic. You have to understand the kind of reactions that are going to come, and you have to make sure that you do not react to it. There is a difference between responding and reacting. And if you react, you are doing it mindlessly. If you respond, then you think about it for seconds, maybe you think about it and then you react. So that mindful reaction is something that we all of us desire. We want people to talk to us nicely, think about things before they are talking to us. We owe them that we think about what we are talking about. We owe them that we think about what we are talking about. It is completely okay to take 10 seconds to recollect your thoughts and talk to them. For example, whatever pace of my thoughts is there in my mind and the pace of my talking, if it doesn't match, the pace of my thoughts is too fast and the pace of my speech is too slow, then I will feel a sense of nervousness when I'm talking. Because, or even if it is vice versa, I will feel a sense of nervousness while I'm talking. But now, If I don't know the next point that I'm going to talk about, then I will take a pause and I will let you all think about what I have just talked about. And it's fine. I can take a pause. I can chill, take some time to recollect my thoughts, and then talk again and be in fast speed again. It's fine. So no one knows the next point that you're going to talk about. No one has read your script. No one knows, like, even if you want to, if you think that you have a crush on someone and you want to say like something nice to that person, maybe reveal your feelings to that person. Um, don't stress too much about it because that person doesn't know your script, what you're going to say. And I think this crush example is very good to understand nervousness while speaking, because that is the epitome of nervousness. Because that is when we are afraid of rejection the most. So when, let's say that you go in front of your crush and you want to express whatever you're feeling towards them. Uh, the first thing that will come in mind is what if they say no? What if they reject you? And that is completely understandable. But again, if you have made this rude nishchay to tell your crush that yes, I like you, then you will go and finally talk to them. So what is the good thing to do? To go and say that go take some time. I really want to say something. I think that my day brightens up whenever I spend a lot of time with you. And I think I enjoy a lot of time spending a lot of time with you. I think you make me better. I think I am a better person in front of you. And I really, really, from the bottom of my heart, like you. So, do you think that we can spend more time together? I think that person will like this version better. So, it's okay to take some time. Whatever you are saying, if you're saying you can say one particular content in 50 seconds and you can say the same content in 2 minutes, and it's fine. No one is going to judge you for that. So you can decide your own pace. Uh, then what I was going to talk about is performance. Whatever we are talking about, whatever we are talking on stage, to people in a group, on interview, to our mom, dad, anything that we want to talk about, it is a performance. It is something that we are doing for people. It is not for us. We have understood what we want to say. We have understood our thoughts. We want to tell people that we are thinking something. And for that, we need to make sure that they understand what we are thinking. And we cannot just talk about whatever we want to say from our frame of reference. For that, we have to think from their frame of reference. And in this, cultural context becomes very important. For example, if you want to talk about Russia-Ukraine war to a 3-year-old, you cannot just automatically tell that person, hey, Russia attacked Ukraine and this happened. You have to make the mother Russia, the father Ukraine. And then maybe like if father fights a lot with mother, then maybe father Russia, make mother Ukraine. And then show that person how Russia is attacking Ukraine, like in a nice way, not harmful way. But it is very important to make a story relatable to the person that you are talking to, or else that person will feel that something over the head it is going and nothing is relatable. And that person will not be interested in whatever you are talking about. And this is true in terms of professional life as well as personal life. Um, so, yeah, making people realize what you're talking about will happen once you make your story relatable. And you have to pick your stories. Like, it is not the case that every time you have to tell a story only. You have to pick the appropriate place where a story or an example can work better, and the appropriate place where a concept or talking point can work better. So, overdoing anything can create a problem in the kind of communication that you do with other people. Another thing that is important while doing this kind of communication is making sure that people are able to visualize whatever you are saying. So when I talked about the small kid example and dad being Russia and mom being Ukraine, then the kid could maybe visualize that yes, dad is one country, mom is one country. And when I talked about this example to you guys, you could think about a kid and a mom and a dad and Russia and Ukraine. So it is very important that you do the same for people who are listening to you. Um, Another thing that is very important is making sure that you give space to people to talk. A lot of times when we are in high school, um, a lot of times we want to make sure that we are the ones who speak a lot. We are the ones who come across in front of our professors, our teachers, as the smart people, as the studious people, as the people who want to get selected in higher opportunities. And because of that, we also might not feel so bad in cutting other people and speaking our point. Whoever is, for example, if someone is saying a point, we might just, um, I think that this, no, I think that this is more appropriate. This is what we tend to do a lot of times. And that conveys a lot of disrespect to the person and to our entire group also. It conveys that you are trying to dominate the group, and no one likes domination. So, when we are in a group, when we are discussing in a group, or even when we are fighting and resolving a conflict, it is important that we come out as a facilitator, as a leader, not as a dominator. Now, let us take an example of a personal thing. Say we have a fight with us, I have a fight with my father. And my father says something to me which is very heavy and I don't like it. But if at that same moment I cut what he's saying and I just start saying whatever I want to say, then he would not realize that I am trying to put a point. He will not take the meaning of the point that I am trying to put. What he will take is I cut him and I disrespected him. So it is very important to make sure first that people feel respect and love. And people understand that you are not against them. You have a problem with the content that they have put forward. So give people space. It is okay if you are the last person to speak. Be the last person to speak, make a closing remark, and make sure that you are remembered for that. So it is like listening is as important as speaking. Listening will ensure that you understand the nuances of everyone's point, and then you are able to collate everyone's points into a nice speech and then give your end remark at the end, and then it will make sense to everyone. And because of in psychology there is another concept called the recency effect. The person who has spoken at the end, and if that person has spoken very well, that is the only thing the entire group will remember, that person's speech. So make sure that when you get a chance to speak, you include everyone's point and then put your own. So that is something that can help a lot in making an impression. Another thing is jot down your points. Like when I was going to make this speech, I made a lot of points. These are the points that I have written down on the basis of which I am making this speech. And when you jot down points, a lot of teachers in school say that don't look at the paper too much. But if you're jotting down points, what is it for? Is it for not looking? It is for looking and saying. But what teachers say also makes sense. Like it is not very good idea to just keep looking at the paper and talking. It is more important that you engage with the audience. So what you can do as a trick is when you're looking at the paper, make sure that you remember the next 2-3 points also. And then you talk about the entire thing for a stretch of 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, if you break eye contact and then look at the paper again, then it is not such a big deal. Everyone will understand and everyone will be impressed that you could speak for such a long time while making eye contact. So, yeah, that makes more sense. Um, I talked about stories. In the same way, it is very important to have good analogies and examples. Um, for that, what is important is we have good observation. listening, observation, passively just looking at the world and seeing what is happening gives us a lot of content to relate with our life and to relate with other people's life. It makes us a lot more empathetic than a lot of people might. So, observation will give us analogies which we can then use to explain people the things that we want to put forth in their own context. So, whenever, like, if you are on a bus stand or if you are on a train stand or whenever you have time, it is a good idea to just keep phone aside for a while, or even if you are reading on the phone, keep it aside for a while and just look at what is happening. You might be surprised by the things that you might see, and you might be able to see very mundane things in a very new perspective. And that perspective, developing that new lens of looking at the world is extremely important. The more lenses you develop, the more you will be able to relate to people around you. Yeah. Then the next thing is you make sure that you are the soft facilitator everywhere you go. May it be in a class, in a group, in an interview, while talking to people around you, in your family fight, during fight with your partner, whatever it might be. Um, as a leader, it is very necessary that we drive the conversation. And driving the conversation and dominating the conversation are two extremely different things. It is very necessary that we bring everyone in us and facilitate the conversation. Um, as leaders, we should always be the kind of person who organize people, who make sure that everyone is included, who make sure that there is a direction to where the conversation is going. And no matter who the actual person is, like in a school setting, the professor or the teacher might be your leader, or in the family, maybe your mom or dad might be the leader. But because you know why communication is important and because you want to inculcate leadership quality, it is very important. And when you are talking, or when a lot of people are talking, you make sure that you drive the conversation. In interviews, also, when people ask you something, you make sure that you give them a hint for them to ask you the next question. You give them a little more than the answer that they're expecting, so that they are curious and ask you the next question that you want them to ask. In this way, you can drive every conversation the way you want to drive it. Now, but in at the same time, you have to make sure that if you are in a group setting, everyone feels included and no one feels that you're dominating the conversation. We do not have to be a boss. No one likes a boss. Everyone likes a person who includes everyone. So that is there. And the last two, three things that I would say is one thing that is very important that is that you are genuine. For example, in this recent YouTube video, I talked about it that if you are with your partner and if your partner says good thing about someone else, and you feel jealous, just saying it that I'm jealous makes it way more easy than feeling a sense of um, uneasiness in your heart. If you just say it that I'm jealous, maybe you will laugh it off. You both will feel good about it. That and partner will feel good that you care about them so much that you are soft jealous. Um, and maybe they might comfort you and say, no, no, you are the specialist person that I have in my life. So just communicating genuinely what you are feeling makes life a lot more easier. For example, in an interview, if an interviewer asks you if you are nervous, just saying that yes, I am nervous because I really want this role makes it easy. And they will not feel bad or they will not evaluate you negatively. And they will, in fact, feel good that you're so serious about the role that you're genuinely telling them that you want the role. So it's it's not a big deal to be honest about your feelings. It's not a big deal to say in a class if you are putting forth an unpopular opinion. It's not a big deal to say I'm a little scared because my opinion is unpopular, but please bear with me. You are already setting the expectation so low that after that, there will just be an increase in your level. So, whenever you are giving a public speech, also, just bear with me for a few minutes. I have not given a speech in a long time. So if I bore you, I'm really sorry. If you just say this and then you say you give a good speech, then it is just a good thing, and no one like it will win-win only for you, for people who are listening to you. So just be genuine about whatever you're feeling. So that feeling, that intensity of that feeling goes down, and two, people start expecting a little less from you, and then you give more than their expectation. Even when you are talking to your mom, dad, um, making sure that they know that you're not against them actually. It is more about you wanting a certain thing or you're not wanting a certain thing. You're not wanting them to burden you with something. And it's not about disrespecting them. You respect them a lot and you really are grateful for whatever they have given you. That is very important. So if we just try and put forth our genuine feelings, I think life becomes a lot more easier. Then let's get on to personal relationships. Um, I just have two, three things to talk about, and most of things I have covered in the professional part only. First is when I say that speak your mind, it is very important to understand the importance of not being rude. When we speak our mind, we have to see if we are just being nasty. If we are being nasty, and if we are just doing it to satisfy our ego, then there is a problem. Um, it is very important to establish, first of all, that I am not against you. You are not my enemy. We are in this together. And whatever is the problem is the content of what you said, maybe, or how you behaved, or whatever situation happened. So that is something we have to come together and sort. So when this is established, then whatever problem is there, solving it becomes a lot more easier. So that is a thing. Another is how will you establish this is through empathy. Making sure that you look at their situation from their frame of reference. Somehow they might have felt because you said things a certain. And the moment you acknowledge, yes, I know I said that word because of that you got triggered, and then because of that you said all this to me. The moment you acknowledge that, that moment the intensity of anger they might have that might go down by a lot more percentage. So that is another thing that is important. Um, the third thing is whenever there is a conflict, um, solving that conflict at that point is not something which is necessary. If the person in front of us wants space, then it's okay to just let it go at that point of time. Your conflict, the possibilities of your conflict getting resolved when everyone is calm, patient, and ready to resolve that conflict is much more than when the person in front of you is irritated and doesn't want to talk to you. So give that person that space. Don't text. Don't call. Give that person the space until they want it. And the moment they are okay with it, the moment they want to talk and resolve the conflict, they will call. And this is not about ego. This is not about I will not call. I will not call until they don't call. And how did they not call? They should call first. This this is not what I'm talking about. If you feel that enough time has passed and now you should call, then you can call. But it is important to give that buffer time for them also to regulate their emotions and for you to put your arguments, put your points, requests in a better way. So this space can create a lot of difference in the quality of conflict resolution while you are communicating with people. Um, I talked about we being a team and making them realize that we are a team. Um, in that, it is also important sometimes to make bids of connection, like making sure that they know that you love them, making sure that they know that you're really grateful that they are in your life. And this makes a very soft kind of environment where talking about negative things can become a lot more easier. I'm talking about negative things in general because communication becomes a lot more important when things are negative. Positive things, talking about them and then talking about communication related to that, it is very easy. Everyone will be very easily be able to do that. But when it comes to conflict resolution, that is where communication plays the most important part. So yeah, that is it. But at the end, it is also very important to not let people walk over you. You'll be nice and everything. Um, but if whatever you do, whatever efforts you take, if people are just taking you for granted and walking over you, it is important to let them know that you have certain boundaries and to clearly, like, this assertiveness is something that is another part of communication that is extremely important, and it is not being rude, it is just stating very clearly what you're comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with. So here I come to the end of whatever I had to say about communicating on stage, communicating in groups, in interviews, and to people you like, um, and to the closed ones that are there in your life. So thank you so much for listening to me. If you have any questions,
Yeah, thank you so much, Sanik. I'm surely going to use a couple of those tips in my school. Okay, so we are open to comments and queries by the attendees of the webinar.
So, first of all, thank you so much, Sanika, for this wonderful session. It was really informative, and I guess like it is really gonna help me in the future. Thank you so much for that. I cannot express my gratitude to you in words, really. And now it's time for comments and queries. So, if any of you have any
I'm
question,
glad.
yeah, if you have any question, you can ask. Yeah, so Ingrid is asking, how can you make a first good impression on a person you just met?
If you want to make a person like you in general, it is very important to, again, the same point I'm reiterating. Like, think about what they might like from their frame of reference, not from your frame of reference. Try to be in their shoes. And I think saying this is very easy, but really observing and really trying to make a genuine connection sometimes becomes a little tough. You just spend some time with them, getting to know them, and hanging out with them, maybe. And maybe when you feel that you're comfortable enough that you can start a conversation with them and you can hold a conversation with them for a good period of time, then it is a good idea to be genuine and to just say that you think that their company is amazing. Um, I don't think that anyone dislikes compliments. It's just that we have to be not creepy in our compliments. And maybe practicing compliments in front of mirror can help you not be creepy in compliments. So I think that can pretty much make the person have a good impression about.
Okay, I hope Ingrid that answers your question. So, Sanika, actually, we had a question in our webinar registration form. So, those of them who haven't joined this meeting, so they have asked some questions beforehand. So, I'd like to ask them to you on their behalf. So, Ashish asks, basically, he loves psychology, and that's why he has also taken psychology as his subject. And his question
Mhm.
is, whenever I sit to study, after some time my mind wanders and I start to overthink and my imagination. How can I stop that or control it?
Yeah, I think this is experienced by a lot of us, and I can completely understand why this might happen. It is very important to first ask ourselves why we are doing what we are doing. Like if we are sitting to study because गया है college में करने को, then our mind necessarily will wander. But if we are sitting to study because we want to study and we want to do it, whatever we are doing, then I think that thought will come back. Why we are exactly doing it, our vision will come back to us. And once that comes back, then it is easy to. Ingrid has another question. Okay, I'll address it. So then it is easy to um, be a little more self-regulatory. Um, and then after that, maybe there are some techniques to like sit through a session for an hour or for hour and a half. Maybe you can put on a timer of an hour and like decide a task that you have to do in an hour, and it is really going to take 1 hour. And then you can start the timer. After the timer starts, if you complete that thing before the timer rings, then you win. But if you don't complete it before the timer rings, then you lose. So if you go to your phone and open socials, then it will be problematic because then you will lose. If you are a little competitive and you like playing with yourself like that, there are different exercises like this that you can use to really focus and not be distracted by different things.
Okay, thank you so much. And there's another question by Ingrid. My leg used to shake when I spoke in front of crowds. My voice starts to shake as well. How do I stop this?
I understand that it is very nerve-wracking to start speaking in front of audience. It is a good idea to sit down and write down what you really want to say and why you want to say it. Um, Especially making sure that the words that you're saying are your own and you believe in them. If you don't believe in whatever you are saying, then it might be very difficult to put it across to audience because you don't believe in it in the first place. So then nervousness might be multiplied. But putting things down in your own words and just clarifying the content that you want to say and how you want to say it and visualizing you speaking the same content in your mind before your performance or before your speech, it is a good idea to do that because then that is kind of a rehearsal. Visualization is a very powerful tool when it comes to you wanting to rehearse but not having the time to because you have it in the next 3 hours before your speech. So a lot of sports people also do it before their match so that they visualize themselves winning, like playing very good game and winning. The same way you can very easily visualize yourself speaking your speech really well and everyone clapping for you in the end. And I think that can give you a sense of a boost of confidence and help you in speaking well.
Thank you so much again. And one last question, which is from pre-asked questions. So Nikayla, if I'm pronouncing it correct, she asks, they ask, how will effective communication help for people who are seeking to expand their network?
Alright? There is answer in the question. Effective communication will help people who are seeking to expand their network. Um, See, communication is basically your face, like what impression people make on you. You don't do communication for yourself. You do communication for the sake of people so that people understand and connect with you. The more people connect with you, connect your philosophy, what you want to do, what is your meaning of life. The more people understand this and like you for this, the more people will want to be in your connection. And then, like LinkedIn connections or network, that is just a side effect. But basically, putting out thoughts clearly, precisely, without things like actually, I think so, without fillers, just being to point, precise about whatever you want to say. That creates a very good impression in front of people. And then, if whatever you are putting forth, if people resonate with that, they will want to be with you. They will want to be associated with you and stuff. So that will help you make more associations in future.
Thank you so much. So those were all of the questions we have got. So I'll give it back to Pranjal.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sanika. We just wanted to click a photograph, so if you wish to be a part of it, you can switch on your cameras. I really wish my camera didn't malfunction, but
I'll make sure that the fairy lights are also visible.
I think that's it. Okay, so
Okay.
can you send the attendance link, Sanskrit? Yeah, that's it. If you guys don't have any queries and have filled the attendance form, we can conclude this meeting. Thank you so much for everyone who has attended it, and thank you so much, Sanika, for dedicating your time and efforts. Like we really can't express our gratitude to you, and thank you so much.
No problem. I had a lot of fun and the questions were really nice. So thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.